Good evening, everybody. Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful Wednesday night here over on StreamerSquare. Hi, my name is Shado Temple. Welcome again to StreamerSquare. If you're here with us during Hot Fix, hope you enjoyed yourself over on that show. Today, the plan is, or this evening I should say, we are working on our weekly workshop streams. That is the idea of covering a different topic each week in order to discuss something that hopefully will be beneficial to your progress, your journey as a streamer, whether it be on Twitch or any other platform out there in the world. Hopefully, if you, as you've seen on the screen here, both on the title, of course, and on my little slide here, that tonight we're going to be talking specifically about the partnership path on Twitch. What it is, what it isn't, how you can get to it, and hopefully by the end of this particular workshop, you'll have a pretty strong understanding of how you can get yourself eventually to that particular bit of progress. I'm going to close my email now so it doesn't make any noises in the background. Anyway, as we're going along with this, the nice benefit of these things, by the way, is that you yourself can actually answer or ask questions in chat as we're moving through these different subjects, and I'll be happy to answer your questions as best to my ability as possible. The notion here is that because it's a live workshop, you do have the opportunity to ask questions as opposed to just being a web seminar where nobody gets to say anything, right? I'm going to have a lot of information here at the beginning of this that might be a little bit obvious for those of you who may have tried to make that swing yourself before, or once we get through kind of that basic information, we'll then start talking about the sort of strategies that we have, or that I have found worked both for myself and for others. I had the pleasure of interviewing about 4 different other partners on Twitch as a platform in order to build up the sort of information that we have in our setup today. So strap in, hang out, relax, and we'll start getting started on this. Before we really get into the meat of the matter, though, I figure I should talk about why in the world I'm the person talking about this, right? I want to make sure you guys understand who I am before we move on from towards what we're going to be talking about today. So who am I? I've been a streamer on Twitch for about 6 years now. Started back in the summer of 2014, so it has been a heck of a ride so far. In 2018, so about just about 2 and a bit years ago, I got partnered on Twitch, so I went through the entire process myself. Actually, right after they kind of reformed the process, thankfully, it doesn't seem like things have changed too much since then, as I talked with other streamers as well. There should be a lot of interesting information there because I can share the information that I had when I was getting partnered, including all the applications I did and things of that nature, so that you guys can have that information on what worked for some of us, right? My particular speciality is variety content, which I admit is a bit of a vague term, but the gist of it is that I focus on games that have strong story elements to them, things that I can do voice acting for, and things of that nature. In addition to that, over the years, I've done plenty of cooking. I've done various IRL streams and just chatting. I've done story times with people. It's been a fantastic path through my career on Twitch, and I'm excited to continue it however it may look for me. In addition to that, I've worked as an on-camera talent host, voice actor. I've done YouTube stuff lately, and my day job is actually museum education. So my day job is to sit in front of a class or stand in front of a classroom talking about things like circuitry and electronics and things, or towards like elementary school students. And then at night, I just keep talking. And today, I'm going to talk even more towards you guys. So let's get into the meat of the matter tonight, which is, of course, what is Twitch? How did we get here? What's going on? If you don't know what Twitch is, first off, I do suggest going to some of our previous workshops that we did. I actually did a workshop about a month ago, exploring that exact topic, which is, what Twitch is, what it does, how people can involve themselves with it, and things of that nature. If you are here and you're at this step, I do recommend watching that workshop first before moving on to this one, because this one's going to really hammer down on specifically how to achieve the partner status, what it is, and how things kind of work with inside of it. To that end, but for those that are aware, Twitch is a social video media platform. The idea being that a vast majority of the content is someone sitting in front of their setup and live streaming to the rest of the world. And it is free to do, and people spend a good chunk of their lives doing this. Some of those people do, in fact, get to make a living off of it, and it's a pretty fantastic business. With that, let's try to get in the mindset of someone who is trying to get themselves moving along on their Twitch career. You know, you've been streaming on Twitch for a little bit. You understand kind of how the basics work. You know how the different ins and outs kind of establish themselves, what bits are, what subs are, what raids are, and hosts and things of that nature, right? Let's get into what your career path, your career trajectory looks like on Twitch as a result. So, there are three kind of main statuses publicly for Twitch channels to be on, right? You start every account, including the ones that are chatting right now who may have never streamed before, start on that very first blip there, which you see is new streamer. That is just the standard old account. There's nothing fancy about it. You can stream freely, but there are no additional bells and whistles that really allow you to do much of anything, and you don't get to monetize your content, right? You can use third-party platforms in order to accept donations and tips and things like that, but you are pretty much just allowed to stream on Twitch, and that's about it. Once you gain a few various requirements on Twitch, then you get to move yourself up to affiliate level, which comes mainly with the ability to monetize your content. That is to say, you can earn ad revenue. You can you can have subscribers on the channel that pay $4.99 a month in order to subscribe to your channel, get little emotes that they can use that are exclusive to your channel, and various other little perks, including like a little badge thanks to their name and all that. In addition to that, of course, they can earn bits. They get some access to some transcoding, which we'll talk about in a second, but that's kind of where that one stops. The highest publicly available spot that you can get on Twitch is a partnered channel. That is on some social platforms, that's kind of the verified sort of version of Twitch. That is the thing that people aspire to for years and years of their Twitch career in order to kind of get there. And I might be asking, well, why would I care, right? You know, it sounds like a lot of work to get all the way up to that partner status. Why would I put the effort in order to make that happen when I can just do whatever I want? And let's talk about that, right? So why should you care about partnership, right? So on these next few slides here, we have ourselves the various features on Twitch that change depending on how you have access to, or depending on what your status of your account is. And hello, everybody, by the way. On the left side there, you can see the all streamers, which is just the everyday average streamer who just started, Twitch affiliate in the middle, and then Twitch partner on the right. Those titles will disappear on the top there, but the same information is there, right? So, Twitch affiliates and partners both, of course, get to have viewers cheer with bits. The difference being there, partners get the ability to make their own custom cheer modes, which are animated little kind of avatars and things that they can use to, or that users can use to give bits, or cheer bits, I should say, to their favorite streamer. Affiliates don't quite have that. Subscriptions, both affiliates and partners get those, but partners get access to a lot more sub-emote slots, as they're called. The idea being that for however many subs you receive on your channel, you get more and more emotes unlocked, and therefore the value of that subscription increases over time. Whereas affiliates get up to 5, and then that's about it. And then ads more recently was unleashed for both affiliates and partners. Nothing too crazy there. For video tools, this is kind of the biggest one that I see personally as a Twitch partner when it comes to literal features on Twitch. Partners get access to full transcode options, and that's a really important thing. When I say transcode, what I mean is that when you as a streamer go live on Twitch and you stream at a particular bitrate that represents how much data you're sending out to Twitch for people to watch, if you have no transcoding, the person who is receiving that information needs to download that information just as fast as you're uploading it. What that can mean, unfortunately, is if you have a high resolution stream, it means that that person on the other side will have to watch the stream at the same high resolution, which if they're on a phone or a bad internet connection means that they will not be able to watch. With full transcode, or with partners, they get a full access to what is essentially the viewer's ability to change the quality of the stream by stepping it down several levels from the high level that it's otherwise at. Affiliates only get priority access to whatever's left after the partners use those servers, and then the regular viewers or regular streamers do not get pretty much any access unless they are lucky or streaming during particularly off hours. Partners also get to use squad streaming because that is something that also depends on quality options or transcoding servers. How the squad stream setup works is that you can have up to 4 streams on one Twitch page at the same time, and when you're focusing on one particular stream, the other 3 are set as kind of almost a picture-in-picture version. The reason why the quality options are required for that is that they step down the quality of each of those streams, so one browser window is not overloaded trying to download enough information for all 4 of those streams simultaneously, as if they were all full quality. That's why it hasn't come down to affiliates yet. It is something that I'm sure Twitch is working on as they try to expand their transcoding options, but in the meantime, that is a big feature that partners have that affiliates do not. VOD storage, nice little extra bonus. Partners get 60 days of VOD storage. That means when you stream something, whether it be this workshop right here or your little Fortnite stream that you do, as a partner, you get 60 days that you get to keep that just living on your channel without having to touch it or do anything with it. Affiliates, meanwhile, only get 14 days of storage before that gets removed from Twitch on its own. It doesn't mean, of course, that you can't do anything with that VOD, just means that you have less time to do it with. Stream delay, partners do get an ability to delay their stream for at least 15 or up to 15 minutes. That being if you were doing a live event that required viewers to not be able to see what's happening live for fear of retaliation or cheating in a competitive sport or game. An important thing to be able to delay that. And then both affiliates and partners get the ability to do reruns and premieres on their channels. Regular streamers do not. Nothing really too fancy here in terms of payment terms. Both affiliates and partners get paid 15 days after the end of a month if they make revenue over $100. The big thing here, though, is that partners, whether you get paid on like PayPal or something else, whatever fees that are incurred from that, Twitch covers it, whereas affiliate streamers do not get that, which is it is what it is, right? Last little bit here before I move on into some kind of less just straight Twitch features for why you should be a partner. Yeah, there you go, Drum Ultima, right? And Loco as well. For channel points, that's something that affiliates and partners get. Polls, yes. Stream team creation. Partners have the ability to create teams on Twitch, which can contain various different channels listed all under one page. Partners can start one. Anybody else can then join that team, but partners are the only ones that can create teams in the first place. For customer service, which if you've ever done a support ticket with Twitch, you probably want to be a partner because you get access to the partnership team, which is super nice. That means that usually your tickets get resolved within a few days as opposed to a few weeks, especially given the current pandemic we're finding ourselves in. If you're watching this 5 years from now, 2020 was a wild year. And then the last thing, which is, also actually something I did miss, and this has changed since the documentation on Twitch actually has been made, but up to a more recent point, any affiliate who wanted to add a new emote onto their channel would have to wait for that emote to be manually approved by a team at Twitch before being allowed to be used on the platform. Partners, meanwhile, as long as they were in good standing, which means that they did not have any TOS violations in a recent amount of time, were able to just put their emotes up first, and then if they were pulled down later, that was another business entirely. More recently, if an affiliate streamer has done 60 streams or more without breaking TOS, you can actually now submit your emotes without having to wait for that process either. But it means that you do have to have that affiliate count for quite a while. And then finally, the Twitch channel that is partnered gets a little verified badge next to it, just that little check mark that you see both in the chat there and along, of course, on your screen on your channel as well, which is a nice little feature, right? Having that recognition is definitely a social kind of aspect of being a partner. To that end, actually, there are a few other things that are being covered here, which are pretty nice. For one, a partner can actually have a few permanent subs to your channel. Those are completely free to the streamer as well as to the user. And once that's binded to that account, it can never be removed, unless you just delete the account entirely. So a pretty nice feature there that you can get like 2 or 3 different, depending on how many subs you have, you can get yourself a few friends, or in my case, fiancés, subscribe to your channel for life, right? When it comes to going to various events, whether it be TwitchCon, rest in peace, or other gaming events and things like that, Twitch usually has something that is exclusive to partners. This is actually a picture of the Twitch party from TwitchCon at 2018, where partners were the only ones allowed to be in. That is just a special networking space exclusive to partners, which is a pretty handy thing. There's also a Discord server exclusive to Twitch partners that you receive only when you connect your partner Twitch account to your Discord account. Higher cuts on higher tier subs. Can't talk about specific details on that, but tier 2 and tier 3, the standard contract provides higher than 50/50 cuts on those higher tier subs, which is not something that can be said of the affiliate account. Contract negotiation. Once your partner account becomes larger and larger and larger, you do have a little bit more footing to discuss better rates and things for your particular account and changing different aspects of your contract. And then finally, and this is kind of nebulous, I realize as I'm saying it, but having that kind of social and networking status of being a partner on Twitch as opposed to being affiliate does have its advantages, as you might imagine. People tend to take you as a streamer more seriously, whether it be various companies within the industry or other streamers tend to look at you a little bit more if you do have that check mark next to your name. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying that that means that we're only giving power to the best streamers. Just that it is an ability that partners receive typically over others, which is a pretty handy thing, right? So those are all the reasons why being a partner is great and why it's a helpful tool into continuing your Twitch career. But let's talk about for a second before we get into how to get there, discussing what isn't partnership, because this is an important thing, right? Number one, partnership is not a job. All of a sudden, as soon as you become a partner, it's not like Twitch rolls up and says, here's all the money you need to become a full-time Twitch streamer. Congratulations, you did it. Now your work is over. Your adventure is over. You've completed, and you can go home now. No, you're still, number one, an independent contractor in the eyes of Twitch, which means that you are responsible for earning revenue. If you do not stream, if you do not try to make incentives to earn revenue, you will not earn anything. And that's just the end of it, right? So it's not necessarily a guaranteed job, nor is it guaranteed success for your channel either. Just because you have that purple check mark doesn't mean you get to stop working, right? In fact, many Twitch partners that I talked to mentioned the fact that their lives became harder as a result of being partnered when it came to the volume of work that they had to do. Not necessarily that it was that they became less successful as a result, but more so that there was more work that they needed to do in order to get there, or in order to continue the sort of stuff that they wanted to do. It is not the apex of your streaming adventure either. What I mean by that is once you reach partnership, it's not like everything is downhill from there and like that was your biggest moment. That's really a beginning for a lot of channels, right? It is a new beginning for that space, and it is up to you to kind of decide where it goes from there. Your opportunities will start to open up that you won't otherwise expect, but you do have to understand that it is up to you to continue to make those opportunities available to you, and that you will continue to try to build yourself up from there. Hopefully, partnership is a stepping stone and not seen as the brick wall at the end of the road. And finally, of course, it's not the end of the hard work, right? I've said it so many other ways already, but you get the gist of it. And the reason I use this picture here is that, number one, I just was looking through TwitchCon pictures, and this one seemed appropriate. But number two, look at all those streamers there, right? That's a lot of streamers that even you as a partner are still competing against, right? Now, not to say that you need to beat all these other streamers in order to get all the way up to the top. But rather that these are all the people that are also streaming the same time as you are, right? And you need to be able to figure out how to stand out amongst this crowd in order to continue to succeed on the platform, even if you do have that check mark. With all of a sudden Twitch millions that are dropped upon you as you get that purple check mark, you can just retire at the age of 28, someday. Let's see here. So with that, we talked about what a Twitch partner is, what it isn't. Are there any questions up to this point before I move on from there? I wanted to make sure that kind of just hit on the points as to why Twitch partner is a powerful tool and what we should understand it isn't necessarily. I'm going to take a quick sip of water, and we're going to start talking about how you do those things. Why your students look at getting into grad school. Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, that is it's still a thing that you have to work very hard to accomplish, right? But at the same time, it is a moment to try to push yourself even higher in the world as a result of achieving that particular milestone. All right, let's go ahead and move on into how to get partnered. So, if you are if say you're a Twitch streamer and you've been streaming for a while, and maybe you got affiliate, maybe you haven't yet, that's okay. And you've looked at the achievements on your channel. You'll notice that there are various different sets of achievements that you can try to achieve. And one of them in particular, one particular set is called Path to Partner. This was added back at the end of 2017 and was the first time that Twitch gave kind of some really solid metrics on what they want to see in order for someone to apply to become a partner. Now, I say that because unlike the affiliate program, where once you hit those particular achievements, you immediately become an affiliate, pending, of course, that you fill out the paperwork correctly. For a Twitch partner, you actually do have to go through an application process. Your channel is then reviewed manually by the partnership team, and then you will be onboarded if and only if Twitch finds you to be a good match for the platform and what they're looking for as a result of the things you've been doing for your content. But the main things that you need to start off are you need to be streaming for at least 24. All these three, by the way, on the list on the screen there are all things that need to happen in the past 30 days of your stream, okay? You can't just have one stream of 75 viewers and be like, I'm done. No, and nor can you do a 25-hour stream in a 24-hour day. I do not recommend it. You wish. No, you within a 30-day period, you need to have streamed at least 25 hours. You need to stream on 12 different days, so you need to spread those that time out onto various separate days throughout the month. And you need to stream at an average of 75 concurrent viewers. And what I mean by that is that little red number that you see below your channel as you're streaming, or on the top of your OBS, your exploit, or whatever, that you shouldn't be looking at most of the time anyway because it hurts. That number needs to be at least 75 throughout the entirety of your stream, right? Or at least, the average between the beginning and the end of that stream. And one thing you notice on there as well, it says that it excludes hosts, raids, and embeds, which we'll talk more about in a minute. But those three are actually ways, of course, that people can find and discover your content, but aren't ways that actually Twitch counts in when it comes to evaluating whether or not you're a good fit for partnership. So, one thing I should also mention too, there are ways of getting partnered on Twitch other than these three requirements, but they are very difficult to achieve. You essentially have to be a large influencer on a different platform in order to have those work for you. So in the case of, let's say, maybe you're a YouTuber with a couple 100,000 subscribers, Twitch is going to look you a little different than someone who has a couple hundred subscribers on their YouTube channel. And, thus also if you have like a strong Instagram presence or a strong Twitter presence, and I'm talking like, again, tens of hundreds of thousands of followers as opposed to just like a couple thousand. Twitch might look at you a little bit differently, but for the most part, you do have to follow these guidelines. And even if you don't, they have to still see that you have a potential for growth. We're still, by the way, getting through the facts of the matter. These are the facts that are publicly available to streamers if they look through them. The rest of this presentation, though, this workshop, is going to cover stuff that is a little bit more anecdotal. Things that I have encountered over the years of my streaming, my push for partnership and then achieving partnership, as well as the various partners that I also talked to that I interviewed over the past couple days. They'll be mostly just bits of advice that you can use to try to press forward on your own push, but they also might be, they might not be the only way, certainly, to get to where you need to go. If there's some other way you can get through, by all means, do what you need to do. Just make sure that you at least take these into account. So, if you saw that 75 when you're looking at the partners, you're like, ugh, guys, 75? How do you do that? Do numbers go up that high? I know, trust me, it's crazy. But 75 actually is the lowest metric that Twitch has ever had for the partnership setup. Before 2017, they actually listed on their site, I believe, about 500 minimum viewers, and before that, 2,000, which was there just weren't a lot of partners back then. Now there are significantly more, almost, I think, about 30,000 or so at this moment. But you do have to try to get at least to that 75 mark in order to achieve it these days. Thank you, Elegant Nardvark. And when I say that 75, you need to hit that 75 average concurrent viewers, I mean that as a minimum. I've heard many stories of partners who had 75 exactly who got denied because that wasn't quite enough for Twitch. They want to see you as a streamer be able to have that organic growth to the point where 75 is just a marker towards a further push towards something better, right? I will be able to discuss my own cautionary tale, yes, Cunning Dolphin, absolutely, by the end of this. That number's changed a little bit since I've last looked. I remember Commander Root mentioned something about that. 45,000 partners as of end of quarter 2 this year. That is incredible. It also explains why I'm still waiting on some tickets. Anyway, 45,000, that's incredible. Of course, by the way, over 2 million active streamers on Twitch at any given moment, or any given month. Which means that even though there are quite a few of them, there are still many more streamers that are still trying to get to that point, right? So that 75 average is calculated over the past 30 days. I wrote 30 months here, and that is absolutely incorrect. Let me go ahead and change that right now so I don't mislead. But they do calculate over the past 30 days and excludes hosted views, rated views, and embedded views. By hosted views, I mean, of course, that if another channel were to decide to host your channel and people watched your channel via the other person's channel, which sometimes maybe you do, like if you have like a channel up that was been around there that you just kind of left up overnight, and then after they went down, they hosted somebody else. That does not count towards the person's partnership push, if you will. Same thing with rated views. If someone is rating somebody else, those viewers coming in, bumping up that number, do not necessarily mean that then reflects on the average that they calculate for you achieving your partnership goal. And then embedded views. What I mean by that, and what Twitch means by that, is let's say you were doing like a charity stream, right? Let's say St. Jude, in a very big act of kindness, decides to embed your channel on their like main fundraising page because they just love what you do so much and they love you so very much. And you're raising money for them, and a bunch of people click on it because they love St. Jude, and and people watch your stream via their website. Well, while that might be good for your own growth, that will not count towards your average viewership with regards to partnership. And the reason for that, even though it might be a good-natured and well-intended embedding, there are a lot of situations where that can work against, or that can be kind of abused in the sense of a streamer. An example of that was, for a while, game wikis would just embed a channel randomly on their website in order to add a bit of live video on there that someone could focus on. The trouble with that is suddenly a channel's viewership might bump up by like 100 views, and you have no idea why, right? Happened to me when I played Darkest Dungeon a few years back, and for a full couple hours, I had great viewership, and I had no idea why. I looked back and found out that that I was being hosted on another website, and as a result, my numbers went up in a kind of inflated sort of way. Now, just because those don't count towards your partnership stats doesn't mean you shouldn't use those to grow. Those are really handy ways of people finding you finding your content on Twitch and being able to eventually then kind of buy into your ecosystem. It just means that when you're making your partnership push, that those are the things that will count against you, okay? And so if you have like 100 viewers on your channel, but 45 of those come from a raid you just got, and 20 of those came from the website that you use by default to use for your stream, they're not going to focus on those viewers, right? They're just going to focus on the ones who are watching on the Twitch platform, who are watching ads and things of that nature. That's what they want people around for, and that's what they want to see. One other thing too, 75 is again the minimum. So make sure that you are shooting higher than that, even if you think you're like, oh, these are 80 viewers that are perfectly mine. Just remember that though, 5-10 of those viewers could be from a host that you didn't expect, and then all of a sudden you, through no fault of your own, do not have the numbers you need, right? So I do recommend definitely being higher than that. Okay, so you're like, all right, yeah, I get it. I have to hit at least 75 viewers, but how do I do that? I have 5 viewers right now, and 75 just looks like this insurmountable wall that I'll never be able to scale. Well, number one, it takes time. Right? No one's very, very few streamers are going to grow overnight to astronomical levels that allow them to get partnered immediately. And that's okay. You don't have to be one of those people. You probably statistically aren't one of those people. Neither was I. Neither was Loco. Neither was a vast majority of streamers on this platform, and that's perfectly fine. But if you're having trouble finding ways to get people onto your Twitch and people watching your stream, these are just a few quick recommendations. This isn't the focus of the workshop, but at least we'll give you an idea of what you can be doing. First off, it kind of breaks down into two main pieces that you really want to focus on, right? And this sounds simple, but it's true. You got to find ways for people to find you and your content, right? If you were just streaming along on Twitch and let's say you're playing Fortnite or something like that, and you have 3 viewers, well, how is someone going to find you if you are just streaming on Twitch and you're not doing anything else with it, right? Let's say, you're trying to stream along. There's no really way for someone to be able to find you. Twitch's algorithms are getting better in terms of promoting smaller streamers and kind of pumping them up so people can at least find them a little bit more. But for the most part, that is pretty much a dead end, unless you are, if you're trying to stream something that is very, very popular. If you're doing something more niche, that is a different story. But you can't really depend necessarily on Twitch's own systems alone. So the next thing to do is to make sure that you're being engaging on social media, whether it be talking to your viewers, talking to other streamers, to game developers, just creating fun and interesting content, spreading your content on those platforms, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, any of those places that you like to use, or if you don't like to use them, get into using them anyway. Think of it as like vegetables for your channel. Even if you don't necessarily like eating them, you do not need to make sure you eat them in order to make your channel nice, big, and strong. You also want to collaborate with other streamers in order to help discover or have new viewers discover you, right? If you connect with like-minded creators of similar size, that being said, I mean, when I say similar size, I mean to the idea that other channels will be willing to work with you if you are kind of both offering something that will be mutually beneficial. That means that a new audience will find you, and you can provide your audience to the other person. It doesn't mean that you're swapping away and you're going to lose these viewers. It just means that you are grabbing from a larger potential pile of viewers who might want to come in and check your stuff. As was mentioned just a second ago, making sure you have unique content, right? Trying to be the best at your game is only cool if you are the best at your game already. If you have a unique shtick to it, though, that's great. If you are like, yeah, I'm trying to be the best at my game while I am just blindfolded the whole time, that's something you can kind of play along with. Or if you don't really want to necessarily stick to the more popular things, of course, the more niche of a corner you find on Twitch, the more likely people are going to find you just by merit of, well, I like this thing, but not a lot of streamers are doing it. I'll click on this one, even though they're pretty small. I'm interested. I want to see where they're going with it. Or I love this old game. Or man, do I love underwater basket weaving. I wish there were more creators who underwater basket weaved. You can corner that niche, guys. You can become the first underwater basket weaver on Twitch. I promise you. And then finally, be willing to say yes to things that pop up for you on Twitch. Social media is a great way to find random kind of opportunities. Just follow a lot of people or a lot of various creators and things on Twitch. And sometimes things will pop up. They're like, yeah, that sounds kind of neat. It is partially how I managed to find myself recording almost nightly videos of Minecraft on YouTube on a very large platform these days. Those sort of opportunities pop up once in a while, and after you do your research and making sure that those things work well for you, it's important to follow those things where you can, right? And also make connections with those streamers when you have the opportunities, whether it be in a live event, like how I connected with Mac and other people like that, or since we might be at the end of live events for a bit, just online, whether it be on their own channels or on social media and things of that nature. So once you find those people, make sure you find reasons for viewers to then stick around, right? Making sure that you are connecting with them, whether it be community-involved events, it could be game nights, it could be, the Jackboxes and Marbles of the world are great to make sure a lot of people can be included for free, and that's always a nice thing to have. Things like referral bots and loyalty points on your channel, making sure people have just reasons to stick around. Of course, making good content is a good reason, certainly, but you want to make sure you give them other things too, other advantages and incentives for that. When you're not streaming, that doesn't mean you get to stop thinking about Twitch. Sorry. You do want to make sure that you're still engaging with your audience on social media, making sure you are talking to them, making sure you're posting stuff for them. If they're talking back to you, make sure in a public space, not necessarily in DMs, but make sure you're keeping yourself involved in those spaces, right? If they're making fan art and stuff, make sure you share it. Make sure they feel appreciated for the efforts that they're putting into your channel. Also making sure that they have a chance to interact with each other off your stream. Discord servers are an excellent example of that. And if you are looking for that partner push and you don't have a Discord server yet, I highly suggest that you do. Because it means that will be a space for your audience members to connect with each other. And as a result of that, that community builds up to something more than just something that shows up whenever you go live. It is now a group of people that hang out on their own who then happen to also watch your stream with you. If you can make both of those things work, that is a powerful tool that you can use to retain viewership. Show viewers you care. I mean, remember names, remember details about their life. Be friends with them, at least to the extent that, in a professional sense. Make sure that you feel for them, that you empathize with the problems that they're having and celebrate the successes they have. Be excited about their birthday and things like that, right? And then just be reliable and be consistent. You hear that all over Twitch, but it's still very true. You want to become a part of somebody's life when it comes to streaming on Twitch. The easiest way to do that is to just always be around when you're expected to be around. It's okay to take breaks. Just make sure that people are aware of it and that you don't take so many that your schedule no longer has any meaning. So if you've reached that far and you're like, okay, but I've tried all those things, Shado, and I've been at this for a few years now, and I'm still not getting there, I'm just sitting at 20, 30, 45 viewers, I don't know, and I'm just kind of stuck, right? I haven't said this yet, and I really feel like I should have said it earlier in the workshop, but it's okay to not be partnered. It's okay. I promise you. If you're streaming on Twitch right now and you're having fun with it, and you're listening to this workshop, it's like, oh man, I could be having 20% more fun if I was a partner. It's okay. A lot of us have streamed for many a year without being partnered, and we had a great time on the service here. Many of us before even the affiliated program started, which means that we did it pretty much for free for years, and that was fine, and we had a great time with it. But it's okay for that to not happen for your channel ever, or if you're luckier, to not have it happen for several years into your career. Right? Totally fine. If you are still looking for that, though, be willing to evaluate your position. Make sure that, kind of do a check on where you're at, how far you still need to go, how far you've gone, and what has changed over the course of the past few months to help inhibit or help develop growth as opposed to inhibit it. And then also making sure that you just check on your content. Watch it. Watch it after the stream. Make sure it's fun. Make sure it's actually something that you'd want to watch, right? If you don't want to watch your own streams, beyond the fact that you're in it, there's a good chance that other people aren't very excited about it either. Make sure constructive about it, though. Don't be super evil to yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to bring yourself down and no one's going to get anything solved. And then also make sure you're being able to commit the time to, getting partnered on Twitch, too, if you're really trying to make this happen. It does take time. It takes more time than just streaming on Twitch. It really does. And almost to the point of a full-time job, especially when you're trying to make that big push. And so making sure that you're in a healthy and a stable position to do that, as opposed to trying to make a partner push that the alternative is that you have no income and you're stuck, that's an unhealthy place to be. Make sure that you are in a stable place to go for it, so that if it does not work out, that you're not just out on a limb. So let's say you worked on it, you kept pushing along, you're like, all right, I finally made it to 75 viewers, Shado. Now I can finally apply to be a Twitch partner, man. It's like, great, fantastic, man, woman, or those of fluid gender. Some things to note before that you go ahead and hit that apply button, though. Number one, double check to make sure that those numbers are reflective, especially of numbers that you yourself received, right? What I mean by that is go to your analytics page, go down to where your viewer kind of breakout is, click on the more details section, or how or where are people finding me, and make sure a lot of that viewership is coming directly inside from Twitch. Or if it's external to Twitch, make sure a majority of the viewership is coming direct via your Twitch link. If it's somewhere else, it's not going to be necessarily as useful to you when it comes to making sure that you actually have those requirements that Twitch is really looking for. Other thing too, and this has happened to several friends of mine who applied because they got super excited that they achieved the achievements and then later realized that they weren't actually ready to go yet. Make sure that 75 average viewership comes from an average of, from 30 streams or 30 days of streaming that are pretty consistently around that place. You cannot try to get partnered by having 15 streams that are at 20 viewers, and then one stream that's at 6,000, right? Maybe somebody rated you with a big old thing, or maybe someone linked your channel on an important place and you got a bunch of viewerships on one day and it felt super good. That stream's great, but it is affecting the average of your stream as an outlier, and Twitch will notice that, and Twitch will not be excited about it. So make sure that you are stretching those numbers over the course of an entire month, as opposed to just on one big stream and then like whatever else, right? If you're ready to make that, or if you're ready to apply, make sure that you can still keep doing those particular numbers for a little bit while longer. The partnership application process takes a while, and Twitch will be continuing to review your content to make sure that it wasn't just a fluke that you hit at the moment that you hit the apply button. You cannot rest on your laurels. You do have to keep working forward to make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to. I learned that the hard way. And also your recurring sub count. What I mean by that is if you're an affiliate on Twitch, you have a certain number of subscriptions to your channel, right? You want to make sure that those subs, that sub count that you have building up, is something that is, gifted subs are great and everything, but Twitch doesn't care about those as much as they do reoccurring subs. That is to say, someone who hits that button every month and they're automatically getting charged $5 a month to be subscribed to your channel. Those are much more interesting to Twitch than necessarily one person coming in and dropping 1,000 gifted subs. Cool, but not what they're looking for. That number isn't necessarily, that metric isn't officially used per Twitch's instructions, but I've heard from several accounts that they are curious about your recurring sub account for that. And that's actually used and applied in later echelons of partnership as well. There are kind of higher tiers of partnership that are not public to the world that are split up and divided by sub counts. Just so you're aware. One thing too, as you're kind of preparing yourself to apply, make sure that you're brand safe. Twitch, in the end, wants you as a partner because they want to trust you and be able to trust you to send you off to various advertisers and sponsors and things like that will be excited to work with you on stuff, right? And that is not just your Twitch channel and not just the stuff that you see on your Twitch channel, but that could be also your Twitter, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Snapchat if that's public, your Facebook and things of that nature. If those things are tied to your brand, the various advertisers and things will be like, hey, we want to make sure, is this person going to be like, are we going to get in trouble for supporting this person, more or less? And so you really want to make sure that your social media is squeaky clean. I'm not saying that it has to be perfect, but think about the various tweets that you did. And I'm not just saying right now, but over the course of the past few years, make sure that those tweets aren't something that if someone rooted back up years from now, that you wouldn't be so utterly embarrassed by that you'd have to delete your own Twitter, right? Brand safety being brand safe or brand suitable is a really important thing when it comes to developing a relationship with sponsors and things like that, and is something that I see, unfortunately, a lot of streamers not take into consideration when they start setting themselves up. So make sure that you really focus on making sure that whatever your brand is attached to, that it is suitable for other brands to try to attach to you. So let's say you've gone through all that and you're like, all right, I think I'm ready to apply, or I'm very, very close. It's time for the push for partner, which I'm sure you've seen a million different channels on Twitch over the years saying like path to affiliate, path to partner, road to affiliate, road to partner, things like that, where, the streamers making it very publicly known that is what they're trying to do. And there are both pros and cons about that, right? Before we get into that, that's actually a fair point, Serious Wolf, about PG streamers being more brand safe. That is generally true, right? If you're, for example, a family-friendly channel, there's a good chance that most brands will be like, oh, they're fine. There's not a problem that we'll run into. And so you'll more likely have an opportunity to work with sponsors, right? If you are a salty sailor and swear a bunch on your stream, inevitably you will lose some opportunities, right? I'm not saying that should prevent you from living your life and doing the things that you want to do. It's just going to limit the share of corporations that may want to work with you. That isn't necessarily a bad thing. Maybe you don't want to work with Charmin Ultra. Maybe you don't want to work with like a particular brand that is only focused on family-friendly things. An alcohol based sponsor, by the way, for example, they care a little bit less about necessarily like what things you are, or like, you know, that you're not necessarily family friendly. You still have to make sure that you are safe for, you know, the Budweisers and like the Jack Daniels of the world, and the sort of kind of corporate structure that they enjoy. But you don't necessarily have to break away from the things that you do in order to still attract sponsors. Just that the more safe you are, the more likely they're going to take a chance on you. All right. So anyway, this idea of the push, which is the idea of like a streamer being like, hey, viewers, people who are following me on various social media, we're going to do this thing. We are going to get ourselves, we're going to get partnered this month. We want to work on it together, and we want to make sure this happens, right? That sort of announcement that you do has its perks and its disadvantages, which we're going to discuss here. As you can see on the screen, they're already there, but we'll discuss one by one. Number one, pros. Let's hit the pros first, because good news first, right? Pros are, if someone is already really excited about your stream, they're gonna go all out. They're gonna be like, I'm gonna retweet your stuff. I'm gonna send it to my friends. I'm gonna send it to my parents. I'm gonna send it to my dog. I'm gonna make sure that everybody knows that you're trying to do this. I will tell classmates awkwardly that you're a cool streamer and that they need to watch your stuff. Casual viewers who may pop into your stream every so often will be like, oh, okay, I like this person. I'll start showing up more often as a result. And even if you make a strong enough push for it, fellow streamers who you may have befriended over the years may also be excited for you and may rally to assist you in making that happen, right? And just, it can work. It really is a productive thing that you can try if you're careful about it. And if you really start to think through what sort of things you need to do with it. And we'll talk about best practices in a second. Because there are definitely some disadvantages to trying to make a push like this. For one, if you have 20 viewers on average, and you've always been a 20 average viewer at most, and you're like, yeah, let's make that push for partner. We're gonna do it this week. And your viewers are like, they're looking up at that 75 wall, and they're like, I don't know about that. I just don't know about that. I'm not sure if I can get there. If you're setting yourself for failure, your viewers will feel it, and they will not be excited for you about it, right? And so that can discourage fans that even if you have some, like a few just really dedicated fans, that can be very discouraging to them, right? This is very much an emotional thing. They want to make sure that people are like morale-wise on board. If you go public with a push for partner as opposed to applying privately, if you fail, everyone feels that pain, right? It's not just you, it's the viewers, it's the streamers, it's the people who all try to support you to make that happen. And that can be a devastating thing to a lot of fans, right? Who are just so excited for you, and then it didn't work out, right? There might be some indignation, some anger, but eventually it might just grow into some kind of just gloom, right? And that'll be up to you to then try to bring back up after the fact, which isn't a great feeling. If you have to sustain the push for too long, let's say, oh yeah, let's just keep pushing for this partner for 6 months. That people aren't going to be as motivated in day one than they are in day, 200, right? They want to make sure that you sustain the energy for as long as you can without wearing out the audience members who are trying to give you that support. And if you do that for too long, it can also become part of your brand, where the first thing a new viewer is going to see about your channel is, oh, they've been pushing for partner. They're still pushing for partner. Oh, let me check out on their channel 2 months from now. They're still pushing for partner. That, it kind of spells out a certain sort of atmosphere about your channel that maybe you aren't necessarily trying to push, but people are getting about your channel instead. And that's not good, right? You don't want to necessarily give out this vibe of, the only reason I'm streaming right now and the only reason I want you in here is so I can get numbers big enough to then get the partner thing. Not a great look, not an exciting thing for people to get involved with, right? So best practices, as best to what I saw when I did the push, if you will, is understand your audience's level of commitment beforehand. Kind of get a feel, you know your audience better than anybody. So along with your mods, so talk to your mods, try to understand where you think your community is at. If you think you can make the push given your current metrics and that you're ready to go for it, then get them going, right? And number two, ensure that you're already at the required minimums before pushing, right? If you try to push below 75, it can still happen. You can still motivate people to get you above what you need, but that motivation has to stick for probably about 2 months minimum. And that could be a tough thing to keep up. And so make sure that you're at least having those numbers available to you before you really start hitting those. When you are about to make that push, make sure you send out on blast everywhere, right? any nook and cranny into the internet that someone who has watched you before can access, that you have privilege to post on, you should definitely be doing it. So make sure you're announcing it on your Twitch. Make sure, if you have a YouTube, make a YouTube video about it. If you have a Twitter, make several tweets about it. Make a tweet longer that explains exactly what's going to happen. Instagram post, TikTok, again, all those places. Make sure that you are posting that out for everyone. When you are making that post, make sure you're listing specific goals and a time span for how long this partner push needs to happen. If people know that it's going to take 2 months on day one, they'll be more willing to kind of spread out their enthusiasm over the course of those 2 months, right? If you say it's going to happen this week, and then you apply at the end of the week, and then it takes 2 months for them to reply, that's a long time that you're going to have to try to push along. So set reasonable expectations for your audience so they understand how long they need to continue that strong support. After that, of course, be prepared for both victory and defeat in this, right? We'll talk about it again in a few minutes, but many partners failed many times getting partnered before they eventually got accepted. In those moments, you got to make sure that you're okay with failing on that and being able to move forward from it. Think about what sort of things you need to say to your viewers. Think about what sort of events you want to do to try to raise morale if things don't work out. But if you also win, of course, have ready a fiesta, right? Get those maracas out, get the streamers going, whatever you need to get yourself excited about having that victory, because your viewers will be so pumped and they want to see you pumped too. And again, just this is going to take a few tries. Don't burn out on it. Some people will get it the first time, but a vast majority of you won't. And so make sure that you keep trying and don't burn out on any one particular run, okay? By the way, once again, guys, if you have any questions as we go along, be sure to ask them. I know I'm going through a lot of information here, but I'm always happy to stop if I see a question in chat that is very useful, and I've seen several so far that have been awesome. So thank you. So you're like, all right, I got the 75 viewers, I got the viewers are engaged, we got everything set to go. My numbers are good, I'm brand safe, everything's feeling great. We're good now, right? Almost. Once you do have the requirements set that you need in order to get to apply, you'll be given the option to fill out just a few spots on the application. It's not actually a very large application to get partnered on Twitch, surprisingly so. However, there is a section that asks you to tell them about yourself. And in that section, it's just a little box, just a little expandable box that can fit up to 2,000 characters. This is your cover letter, folks. This is the way that you instill some voice and some character into the cold, hard metrics that they will otherwise be seeing during your review process. You have 2,000 characters? Go for it. Fill all of them if you can. Make sure that you are using them appropriately. You don't want to waste the time of the reviewers, but you want to make sure that you're using that as to the best of your ability. Think of this like if you ever applied to college, for example. Think of this as how you describe your extracurriculars. Twitch seems to really enjoy having a well-rounded streamer. And I'm not talking about when I'm not streaming, I like to go skiing. I'm talking about have you organized events, charity events beyond your own channel? Have you gone to various conventions? Have you sat on panels? Have you done things specifically with Twitch that have been a little bit unique compared to the average streamer? Have you been on Twitch Weekly? Things of that nature that will be very interesting to them, and will note that other people have vetted your content and have decided it's of high enough quality to work with you in the past. Collaborations and events and things like that are always a good way to go about it. Yeah, this part doesn't necessarily show up very often before you try to apply, but it is an extremely important thing to consider. This actually right here, thanks to a lovely streamer by the name of Madame Gandalf, who we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute, actually was willing to share her essay that she wrote for her application that on the last time that she applied when she got eventually accepted into the partner program. So this is actually the very wording that she used in order to get herself partnered. And you can see there are various sections that explain kind of what her channel does, but isn't cut and dry, right? She uses a lot of voice in there. You can see that there's excitement about the Green Dragon Tavern, which is the community that she's built and the channel that she has. When people come into the channel, they're not just coming into a Twitch stream; they are guests at her inn. That they're getting drinks at the bar, they're renting rooms, they're doing things like that, right? And then all the various crazy things she's done. She's done things like charity streams. She does special D&D games. She does, she's been featured on various sections of Twitch before, and just done unique things. Make sure that those are things that you highlight when you write out this essay. You want to make sure that Twitch knows that you're more than just the numbers on the page that they'll look at when they're trying to review your stuff. If you don't put anything in there, that's all they're going to work on. And if the numbers are impressive, that's fine. But if they're kind of closer to those minimums, you're going to have to work a little bit harder to get that going. All right. Another one that I'll show here is actually mine as well. Mine is a little bit drier than the Madame Gandalf's. I was pretty like, this is what I consider to be more just cover letter kind of set up here, where like I am talking at a professional corporate level to you to explain what's going on. Unlike Madame Gandalf, I listed a few more stats with the sort of stuff I was doing. That's not necessary, obviously. Otherwise, Madame Gandalf wouldn't have been partnered, neither some of the other people who wish to kind of keep theirs private. But those are the sort of things that you want to kind of list along, right? And if they see that you have an ability to kind of extend your brand beyond just the live streams that you have, they're going to be much more excited about potentially getting you partnered on their channel. Or partnered on their platform, I should say. Are there any questions about the essay portion of your application before we move on? And one last thing I'll say is that make sure you have someone else proofread it. If they find it to be, or especially someone who knows Twitch a little bit, because if they know if they know the stuff you've done, they may be more willing, or they might be like, well, what about when you did this? Or maybe they'll be able to word something a little bit better. Maybe they'll be able to shorten something so you can add more stuff into that 2,000 character limit. I reached out to my fiance, who always helps me with the things that I write, and then I have 100% acceptance rate on all the things that she and I've worked on together. So find someone who's good at grammar, yo. It's really handy. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Be careful what you wish for there, Marish Kebab. You might just get it. Any particular metrics or details that make sense to purposely leave out? Excellent question. I would say if you're not certain that it speaks well of your channel, don't put it in. If you have a YouTube channel, but you like put 3 videos on it 4 years ago and you haven't done anything with it since, don't list your YouTube. It's not worth it, right? If you made a Facebook page for yourself, but you haven't touched it since the day you made it, don't list your Facebook. Focus on the things that you do well. Leave out the details that you don't. They don't need, if you're not focused on those things, they don't necessarily need to see them. Now, of course, if you are focused on more things larger, then there are more opportunities to get those things done, right? Just make sure that you, as you're kind of setting that up, that you get things along. Cunning Dolphin actually mentioned something here. And I will actually hit at the very end, Cunning Dolphin, my particular story on that before we finish. But yeah, just making sure that you put in the stuff that you're excited about and omit the stuff that you're not, right? If you think it's going to be a benefit to you, put it in. You don't know. You don't know if it's going to be exciting or not to them. But the only way to find out is to try, right? Again, I would say maybe 1,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. Not the most exciting thing in the world. But 10,000 might be oh, all right. You have 5,000 Twitch followers, but 10,000 on YouTube? I'd be interested to see how that happened. That might be interesting. Just make sure that you're thinking about it as you build them up. Okay, so let's say you wrote your essay, you had the numbers, you hit the apply button after you 7 times read over your application and made sure everything was working right? Now what? You send in your application, Twitch now has it, and it's out of your hands. Or at least the application is. The review process is still a large majority of the review process is still in your court. During the time that your channel is under review, they're going to be looking at the stuff not only from the previous month, but also the stuff that is presently happening. Something that happened to me actually is that I applied for Twitch Partner on the very last time the very final time that I had to. And then I went on for a week-long cruise immediately after I applied. Because they're like, all right, we're going to work hard 19 days. We already got some good numbers. We're going to work on the 19th day. I'm going to go ahead and apply, and then I'm going to disappear for a week. They waited until at least 2-3 weeks after I came back and still maintained the same numbers before then eventually giving me that acceptance. So be ready to keep streaming. Assume during that time, while you're waiting for that review, that Twitch will be watching your content, both the live stuff and the VODs that are both recorded and highlighted on your channel. They'll be watching clips. They'll be checking your Discord servers. They'll be reading social media. They'll be observing Twitch stats beyond those available to you. So don't assume that you can try to sneak away with one, Twitch partner staff hates him. Watch as he got partnered with this one simple trick. Is not going to work for you because they have more information than you do, and they're smarter than you probably are when it comes to trying to trick them out of something. They'll be actively monitoring for botting, embedding, ways to kind of inflate your numbers that otherwise wouldn't they otherwise wouldn't necessarily show up on public stats. They know when they can figure out when channels are being botted. They can't necessarily always figure out the culprit of someone being botted, but when someone is botted, but they can determine pretty easily when someone is being botted, period. And then just make sure you're keeping a positive attitude towards the whole thing. If you're being a real sourpuss about like how it's been a few weeks since you've heard anything, and you're just like, oh, that Twitch, oh, you hate them so much. Twitch isn't going to be very excited about you joining their partnership team, right? There's a bit of an attitude thing to this, and it doesn't mean that you can't get partnered with as kind of an angry gamer approach, but you will have to have higher numbers, right? If they think you're going to bring a positive attitude, though, and you're just continuing to be positive about things, that's going to help you a little bit, at least from what I've seen. What you should be doing while you're waiting for that partnership application to come back is keep up the energy during the review. Make sure that, again, you're keeping a positive profile. Make sure you've got special events going on, fun things that are moving. Make sure you stick to your stream schedule, though. Don't try to deviate too much, because if you're a night streamer and always have been, always will be, and you just suddenly decide to start streaming during the day and none of your audience is available during the day, your numbers are going to go down. And whoops, you just knocked down your average because you decided to stream more. That sounds counterintuitive, but you really have to pick your battles when it comes to getting reviewed. Make sure that you're only focusing on the streams that you know are going to do well, and then just kind of leaving alone the ones that you don't think are going to. Other things, don't take risks. Again, just don't stream off hours. Don't stream games that you never stream, things like that. There'll be time for that after you get partnered. For right now, just focus on the things that do well for your channel. Also, be careful of doing giveaways during that time. It may feel like, oh, I want to get viewers into my stream, so I just got to do a giveaway, more people will come in. That can be seen by Twitch as an opportunity for you to artificially inflate your numbers. People like hound Twitch for various places that say giveaway. They might pop up for the giveaway and then disappear forever. Twitch knows that, and they know that if you are giving things away, you're just going to have a higher viewership. That's just plain and simple, right? So be careful about that as you are trying to encourage viewers to keep coming back. And then just keep an eye out for that response, right? It could take weeks, it could take months. I've heard some people, it's been taking 3 months to get their application back. Just because, of course, I'm sure of the current situation we're in, productivity is a little bit down, and I'm sure they're getting swamped as more people are trying to stream. So be wary. That is going to take some time. It's not going to happen the next day, at the very least, and you need to be ready for that as you go. So let's say it's been a few weeks, you try to keep up your numbers and all that, and you're like, yeah, we can do it, and you get that rejection letter. The sad thing that's like, oh, we have received your application, we appreciate your time that you took to submit it, and think you're doing well, but we just don't think you're quite ready yet for the partner for the partner program. It's okay to scream. Go find a pillow. Go just scream in that pillow for a little bit. Go jump up and down, run around the block. But it's okay. It's not over for your channel. Vast majority of partners got rejected several times before they eventually did get approved. Between the two partners here in particular that I have, one had to take 3 different tries before they eventually made it. One actually, unfortunately, and I want to make sure I get this number right, applied 13 times before eventually getting partnered over the course of 5 years. And that is par for the course. It took me about 5 tries before I eventually got partnered, and it will probably take you a few as well, unless you are really stingy about your applications, in which case that's fine too. I get it. I don't want that kind of rejection either. But yeah, it's going to be all right. You're going to survive this. You're going to work through this. But make sure you kind of take these steps to make sure that you are keeping the appropriate attitude. Pay attention to what the email says. If there are particular information, and I will definitely hit that in just a second. If the email indicates something in particular as to why they didn't apply or accept you as a partner, pay attention to those things. If it says nothing about why you didn't get accepted, reply. And when you do so, reply graciously, okay? As I'll mention later on, you cannot rage your way to partner. Don't like try to tear into the poor person who has to open that email the next day when they send the rejection to you. They don't like rejecting you. They don't want to. They just want to make sure that they have a certain set of requirements that they need to hold to, and that means unfortunately that a lot of people get rejected. Did it change up my write-up drastically at all between applications? Yes, to an extent. And I wish I had various iterations over the years, but the gist of it was that I added more interesting things as I did more interesting things, right? The more events that I pulled off, or the more like hosting things that I did, or workshops that I attended, the more of those that I listed. I also tried to kind of step away from things like saying variety, because everybody is a variety streamer if they play more than one game. Try to focus on what you are specifically unique about, right? I think I wrote a lot about that at the beginning. Don't say that you don't fulfill the requirements. That's what I did the first couple of times. It's like, I know the numbers aren't great, but hear me out. And that's probably where they stopped. Treat yourself well. Don't bring yourself down. Be good to yourself and try to make sure you're telling the truth, but you're telling the truth in a way that makes you look good, when it comes to the write-ups. And that's a lesson I learned over the course of 5 different applications. Now, let's say you made that push to partner with everybody else. Make sure that you're letting everybody down gently. You don't have to post it on Twitter and be like, I'm gonna be off of social media for a couple days. Bye, guys. And then have everybody just sad and gnashing of teeth. Make sure that you talk with your audience and make sure that they know that, yeah, I'm not happy that this happened, but we're gonna move forward from this. We're gonna make sure that we get this done, right? But if you do need to take a break, that's okay. That's all right. Just make sure let everybody know you're fine. Let everybody know that it's okay, that it's going to be all right, and then move on from there. Please do not go after Twitch staff. Number one, whoever you aim at is probably not the person who looked at your application, and you're just going to be attacking someone random. Number two, attacking people is not okay. And number three, if you attack Twitch staff, they're going to report that, and they're not going to be very excited about you ever being a partner. So don't create a fuss. It's all right. It's not the end of the world. You can still keep streaming and just try another time. To that end, the Lolly Dave was asking, how much time was between each application? That I did personally was about just under a year in between. I think the minimum recommendation is at least 2 to 3 weeks. I'm going to say wait at least a month. Again, the reason for that is that Twitch, for whatever reason, saw the stats that you had and decided that they weren't enough. If you try to apply again 2 weeks later and you're maintaining those same stats, Twitch is going to just come back and reject you faster because they're going to be like, you didn't really change a whole lot. You did nothing to make anything new, and now we don't care, right? You have to make sure that you show some meaningful progress between the last application that you've submitted and the next one to give yourself a better chance. I don't know if Twitch, this is a personal opinion, I don't know if Twitch necessarily keeps your previous applications, but I'm sure they don't hurt, especially if you have a progress that you have made over the course of those various applications. So for me, it was almost a year in between just because I felt like that's what I needed in order to kind of rally everybody and make sure they're ready to go. That's another thing too, if you're making Twitch pushes or partner pushes with your audience, they need time to recover that energy too, right? They can't just be ready to go immediately after that. So you want to make sure you give them time to kind of work through that too. like a school-like permanent record, right? And that sounds ridiculous, but Twitch has a lot of information on you as a streamer when it comes to going through these things. And it's important to remember that as you're making your own progress. So let's say, again, just keep repeating that process. Make sure you got the numbers right. Make sure you wait at least a month. And make sure that data is new and fresh for Twitch when they look at it again, so that they know that there has been something new that has happened. Or at the very least, on your tell us about yourself, make sure there's something new in there too. Maybe you hosted a charity event at TwitchCon. Maybe you were on the main stage for an esports event or something like that. Make sure they know about that stuff. They're excited about exciting streamers. And if you just focus on the stats the whole time and don't try to shoot for anything new, they're not going to be very excited about it. So let's say, you've applied several times, or maybe you just got really lucky on that first one, or you're just a very good streamer. In which case you got accepted and you got the email that says, welcome to partner land. Aha, enjoy, check mark and all that. Great, fantastic. Get excited about it. Celebrate it. Your audience has worked hard with you to make this happen, and they want to see you excited about it. Even if you're tired, just at least get something out there. I think there's a clip of me when I got partnered, the first stream that I did, I just screamed into the microphone for about like 20 seconds. And yeah, did that scare people? Sure, but it felt good. And people are like, yeah, that was pretty, like, he's obviously excited about this. Be pumped. After that stream, of course, start, if you work on your own artwork for your channel, great. If you don't, get artists working on your new emotes for your channel, because more likely than not, you probably just earned a whole bunch of new emote slots that you didn't have before. As an affiliate, of course, you only get 5 emote slots for the standard sub. For a partner, you can get up to 60 that level up to, or that increase depending on the number of subs that you've had on your channel at a given time. And so all of a sudden, you'll have a bunch of new sub slots that you'll need to be filling in. So make sure that you're set to go for that. Another thing, too, when you get partnered, your contract updates, especially if you're an affiliate. If you're not an affiliate, by the way, I didn't mention that before. Make sure they know why you decided to go from regular streamer straight to partner. They're going to be curious about it, and if you don't say anything about it, it's probably going to work against you. But if you were an affiliate before, your partner contract is going to be different than your affiliate contract. Make sure you read the things before you sign them. I know you're very excited, but there might be something in there that you don't expect that might be different from your affiliate contract that you may not like, okay? Also, make sure you update your social media bios. Make sure everybody knows that you're a Twitch partner. That is an important aspect, because when it comes to getting opportunities, people are going to look at your bios. They're going to look for an email. Put a business email in your bios for your Twitch or for Twitter and everything, please. Yeah, if you don't understand your contract, find a lawyer. Make sure they're actually a real lawyer. Don't like be like, yeah, my friend's in law school. Find a real lawyer and make sure that they go through it with you to make sure you understand everything in that. But yeah, make sure that your social media is all updated and make sure everybody knows that you're a partner, because again, those opportunities will come, and when they do, they're going to be excited to hear that you're a partner as opposed to not. Then get back to work, like, celebrate, take a victory lap, have some fun, but also just get back to streaming, because this is the beginning, buddy. You are getting back into it, and you are now you have no metrics that you're shooting for anymore that are dictated by Twitch. You are now just on your own, floating in space, and you got to make the best content and create the best audience that you can possible. Look ahead, don't look behind. If you keep looking back to that day, you're gonna be like that, like a high school quarterback 20 years after they graduated high school, right? Just thinking about the big game on homecoming where you threw the excellent pass. It's like, yeah, but that was in 1987. We were moving on from that, Frank. Make sure that you're always looking ahead to new opportunities, new ideas. The partnership excitement will fade after a couple of weeks or months. And in those next moments, you have to be ready for the next thing that you're going to be trying to work towards, okay? This isn't the end. It is merely just another beginning for your time on Twitch. And the last thing I want to leave off before I kind of break it out to questions and things was just a little bit about my experience shooting for partner. So I did this back in 2018 myself. And at the time, I really wanted to make this happen. I was desperate. Unlike the advice I gave, heavily stared at all my numbers. I wanted to make sure I knew all my stats at all times, so that I knew exactly what was going on, what was happening on my channel, what wasn't, and knowing exactly what I could do to improve it. And so when the partnership push, when it finally came time, I got a big old raid on one day in particular after the end of one particular big event. I was like, well, let's try to make this work. So I rallied everybody together, and for the next month, we tried to push as best we can. In those days, though, be careful how you treat people, all right? I fear at the time I was a bit pushy myself. I specifically requested other streamers that if they were going to support me, that they do so in this very specific and weird way. And this is a personal shame of mine. I even asked certain streamers to not stream during the times that I was, and that is a bad move. Don't do that. Don't do those sort of things. The possibility of you eking out a few more viewers, even if you're in the same kind of lane, but burning bridges in the process, is not a good thing to do. You want to make sure that when you come out on the other side with that partner badge, you still have to work with the same jamokes that are around you, right? And if you hurt those jamokes on the way up, they're not going to be very excited about working with you anymore. And so you want to make sure that you are staying friends with people, that you are engaging with them, that you are being supportive of their drive and their passion as well. Make sure that this doesn't ruin your channel, right? Partnership's good, and it's really handy to have. It has opened up more doors and opportunities for my channel than I ever expected, but it is not the end-all be-all on Twitch. And if you are willing to burn everything down just to get it, there's going to be nothing left for you to stream with when you come on the other side, if that makes sense. That's pretty much all I wanted to cover today. Again, partnership is a handy thing. Make sure you kind of take measured steps and goals towards achieving that. Make sure that you are just trying your best to do what you can, right? It doesn't have to happen now. It doesn't have to happen next year. Just make sure you're still working on making the best community you can first. And then once that community builds to where you want it to be, that's when you can start focusing on getting big fancy check marks next to your name and stuff like that. And just as a last note here, I left 2 quotes up here from 2 friends that I interviewed who are willing to share their stuff. But yeah, both of which kind of really set into that idea of partnership should be a goal. It'll take people different amounts of time to get there, and make sure that you build something that you're proud of to get there first, as opposed to trying to just house a card your way up to just those bare minimums and then wonder why it didn't work afterwards. Are there any last minute questions here, guys, before I go ahead and finish up for us for today? Excellent questions so far, by the way, guys. I love seeing them in chat. It's been really cool to see. And I hope you learned a little something about the partner program, what it is, what it isn't, and how to kind of achieve it yourself. And of course, big thanks to Dire Dwarf and Madame Gandalf, both excellent streamers in their own rights, for hitting those, hitting me up and allowing me to use some of their information and their strategies while making this particular presentation. They've been fantastic, and I suggest you check them both out. Well, if there are no questions at this point, then actually, hold on, we got one right here. In the current state, everyone at home streaming, do you recommend a particular avenue for visibility or growth for affiliates? Again, and this is something that I saw. I spent a lot of time on the Twitch subreddit, and I saw someone say this when I was trying to gather information. They said I don't like doing social media but I heard, and people always tell me to grow that way. Are there other ways to do it? Not entirely, right? Like, social media is one of the easiest ways to find new eyes to watch your stuff. And if you're trying to avoid those things, it's not going to be a really good look for your channel because you're going to be limiting your options, right? So I would say with finding greater visibility, YouTube is definitely an option there. There are better methods of algorithmic searching when it comes to YouTube compared to Twitch. Just kind of how YouTube operates as opposed to Twitch. And those are great ways to find new viewers that wouldn't otherwise find you if you're just on your own. But again, also, whatever platform you can meaningfully create content on, you should be getting to it. If you can make awesome TikToks, that's a great way to grow right now. If you've got awesome pictures that you are making, or you can start making, Instagram's your game. If you are funny, or you have a way of attracting eyes, make sure that you're on Twitter and things like that, right? Mac especially, and if you want to know how to make how to get yourself started on YouTube, Mac and Cheese actually created a workshop as well a couple of weeks ago that explains exactly how to get yourself started on YouTube as well. Excellent place to look, actually. It's a good thing to check in on and see that. And I believe you can find it over at StreamerSquare.com. Let's see here. Other questions that are coming in. Yeah, so we hit up that one. After you hit partnership, your viewers go down, right? So again, there is this thing, kind of, there's a sort of a Twitch partner honeymoon where people are super excited for you and they're so excited to see the progress you made. You suddenly get hundreds of new subscribers and it feels all sorts of great. And then a couple of weeks, months later, they all just kind of flatten back out to your previous numbers, if not worse. And that's just an enthusiasm gap, right? You could not possibly keep up the enthusiasm of getting partnered on your channel for more than a couple of weeks, right? And that's okay. Be okay with your numbers fluctuating or else you're not going to survive this for very long. Make sure you keep an eye on the averages. Make sure you're not actively doing something to harm your stream. Of course, there are still, just because you aren't destroying these things doesn't mean that, or just because you are getting off that honeymoon doesn't mean you aren't also doing bad things. Just make sure you're still doing the same sort of self-review that you were doing before your partnership. Make sure you're understanding what's working for your channel, what isn't, how you could improve upon things. Just keep an eye on yourself, and don't be too hard on yourself when things do inevitably dip again. All right, with that, if there are no further questions, guys, I will go ahead and leave it off there. Thank you guys all for listening. This will be available as a recording, of course, elsewhere on StreamerSquare and I believe on YouTube as well. Be sure to check it out then. If you have any further questions about partnership and things like that, again, I am a mere partner. I am not a staff member, so I cannot give you the true blue behind-the-scenes stuff. Just the experiences that I've seen between myself and other friends who have and have not gotten partnered as of yet. You can feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at Shado Temple. That is at Shado_Temple. The way you see is spelled just below my name there, or below my face here. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have after the fact of this particular recording. And also, of course, you can catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Shado_Temple. If I could actually point in the right direction, right there. I'll be actually live till later tonight. Should be fun. But I won't take too much of the time over there. So with that, thank you guys once again. Hope this has been useful to you. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I think this is the last bit of broadcasting for StreamerSquare for the day. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.